Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Digestive Physiology lecture for today. This is going to be our first online video, and I'm happy that it's actually taking place, and it's the first of a lot that will be coming through. So unfortunately, I was not around, and I'm in a conference venue, as you all know, and I should be in an office trying to give you this lecture. So I would go straight into the lecture for today. I remember that before I left, we were talking about accessory organs. And so we were moving all the way from the mouth, the accessory organs from the mouth, which is from the mouth, which is the saliva, the salivary gland, we talked about it. Then we moved down to the liver, and closer to the liver was the pancreas. And so before I left, I talked about, we introduced the pancreas, and I gave you a couple of readings that you guys should do while I'm away. And with such class, we are going to be able to discuss the readings that I did. Okay, can everyone see what is on the screen right now?
Yes.
Now on the screen, you can actually see that from the 22 to the 28th of July, we had the week 2, 3, 4 notes, and those are the notes that I asked you guys to read. And there's a short quiz also, which is after reading those notes and watching the video by Dr. Baker. Are there people who actually watched that video? Did you guys watch the video by Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm happy. So we now on the same picture now that you guys watched the video. And after watching that video, you had some few questions to test yourself, which I emphasize that everyone must attempt the question. And so I'll just quickly go and show you what happened within that lecture day. The statistics of your response in the class. So can everyone see the slide that is on the board now that I'm sharing?
Yes.
Okay, those are the scores. It can tell you how many students actually attempted, which I'm very happy. A lot of people have almost all the questions, and so which means they followed what was happening. And if you go scroll right down, you can see our bar chart telling you the minimum sat down between 65 to 70%, and you have quite a good number of students who had very high mark. So well done to the class. And so besides that, I also remember there was a message, there was a series of questions sent for the groups that we formed in class, asking you to try and discuss that question. So I would ask the different groups now, if you don't remember the questions, I'll try and make sure the questions appear again just now. And there's evidence that in our WhatsApp group, the questions, these are the questions. Is the WhatsApp, can you see the WhatsApp screen with the class with the questions?
Yes.
Perfect. And so if that screen is there, I'm going to put a second screen there, and where you guys can, with a better phone, for you guys to see the questions. So those are the questions. So from this point, I was saying we were now looking at the function of the pancreas, which is the next topic that we were going to do, but you had to read this in advance. So group 1 was going to discuss the endocrine function of the pancreas, with paying particular attention of the glucagon, and group 2 paying particular attention in insulin, which we're talking about glucose homeostasis, while group 3 was then going to look at the endocrine function. So in your groups, I would want you to take a minute and send a representative to come up and talk to us about, discuss the questions, present your question in front of the class. Can I have group 1? You have just 2 minutes to talk to us, so you don't really have to be very stressed. As usual, it's a normal class. Let's carry our business as usual. And yes.
Okay, the endocrine function of the pancreas is to maintain the blood glucose level by the opposing and balanced action of insulin and glucagon, which is referred to as glucose homeostasis. We're gonna look on glucagon. So, hormone glucagon is secreted by the alpha cells of the islets of nanocytes in the pancreas. Hormone glucagon stimulates the mechanisms that increases blood level, such as catabolism of glycogen into glucose. Glucagon also breaks down glycogen, fats, and proteins, which travels into the liver. It also stimulates the liver to convert its stored glycogen back into glucose. It also stimulates the liver to take out the amino acid from the blood and convert them into glucose, and then release them into the bloodstream, which help rises the glucose level back to normal. And the activity of glucagon is through the negative feedback mechanism, and the rising concentration of glucose in the blood inhibits further glucagon production and secretion.
Okay, that was great. Okay, I would like the next group to come up, but the presenters should stay closer to the computer so that I can hear properly. I was really stretching to hear you guys.
So, we're going to talk about the endocrine function of pancreas, focusing on insulin and glucose homeostasis. As you know, the pancreas, it's a gland. It's another accessory gland found in the digestive system, but not exactly in the digestive system. It aids in digestion. So it has an endocrine function and also exocrine function. And we're going to focus on endocrine function, which mostly deals with the secretion of hormones. And the hormone that we're going to look at is insulin. Insulin is secreted by the beta cells found in pancreas, and it helps in balancing the blood glucose levels in the body. It is stimulated by an increase in blood glucose levels, and it lowers blood glucose levels by stimulating the uptake of glucose by many cells of the body, including skeletal muscles. It stimulates the liver to store glycogen in form of glucose, so that it can balance the glucose levels in the blood. It also converts glucose into glycogen, and also helps in, or it stimulates the process of glycolysis, so that the glucose that is abundant in the blood can be used, and also the process of glycogenesis, as I was saying, in the liver. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the last group.
So we're going to talk about the exocrine functions of the pancreas. To be more specific about this, the exocrine functions of the pancreas is to secrete the digestive enzymes that aid the digestion of the child. So exocrine secretion means that secretion occurs through the duct. By so saying, it means that there are specific ducts that are going straight from the pancreas to the duodenum of the small intestine, where all the secretion of the enzymes are directed to. The exocrine portion has the ACCESSORY, which is secreted the alkaline solution, and that solution is rich in digestive enzymes. And those digestive enzymes include the amylase, the lapases, and trypsin, as well as chymotrypsin. And these enzymes are able to break down all food groups. So the pancreas is so-called a vital organ. So now coming to the hormonal control that occurs when now the bolus is inside the stomach. Once the food bolus reaches the stomach, hormones, gastrin and CCK are stimulated to signal pancreas to release an appropriate digestive enzyme. By saying the appropriate digestive enzyme, we are saying that now these hormones are sending the message so that the pancreas is able to decrease the enzyme that will match the bolus that is in the duodenum. If the bolus is rich in carbohydrate, so now the pancreas should release the amylase to break down the starch. And if the bolus is rich in fat, so the pancreas should release the lapases to break down the fats, and as well as if the bolus is rich in proteins, the chymotrypsin and other protein-related enzymes will be released in the small intestine. So additionally, these hormones are stimulated by the pressure in the pyloric sphincter, and with the aid of the enzyme secreting from the neuroendocrine cells of the duodenum of the small intestine, the release of the enzyme is coupled with the high concentration of bicarbonate salt. And this bicarbonate salt helps in the buffering of the child that is acidic from the stomach. And now, if now the child is well buffered, so the enzymatic activity will properly in the digestion and will be successful.
Okay, that was great. And thank you very much for the presentation. And that gives me an idea of the level of understanding and your commitment and the group work that you guys did in concerning with respect to the assignment that was given to you guys. Now, if you look at that, I'm going to put a screen up just now. From what you guys have said, there's quite a bit that I would show you guys, which is something that can you see the slide on the screen? Can you see the slide on the screen?
Yes.
Good. So I'm going to present to you this question, which is a typical question that would guide us to now fine-tune what you guys have presented. It says, discuss the function of the pancreas as one of the accessory organs of the digestive system. And then I went on to say, look at the hints. Okay? You should look at the hints. Now, I'm taking out that screen now. Why am I saying that? If we look at the endocrine function, I was happy with the way it was presented, and quite a bit of the enzymes were mentioned. The hormones were mentioned, and the glucagon and the insulin function in terms of the homeostasis were mentioned. That means you guys really grasp the concept of that side. So you need to fine tune, just need to watch how you present them and get a proper flow. For the endocrine function, it was there, but the flow was a bit not very strong. So what I can ask you, I would like to ask you, how many enzymes is excreted by the exocrine system? How many was mentioned in class from the presentation of your colleagues? Can you guys discuss about you and name the few enzymes that have been excreted by the pancreas? Can I hear them? Whose hand is up? Can anyone try? Hello? I want to hear hands. I want to hear people talking about. Yes? Can you list them? Hello? I want to hear someone talk about it. This is for the rest of the class now. What is the, can you list the enzymes that are secreted by the pancreas?
Can you see the hand?
Yes? Can you go ahead?
Well, the enzymes that are secreted by the pancreas include amylase, ACCESSORY, trypsin, chemo, and chymotrypsin. Those are the four we talk about in the class.
Okay. If you heard that, I heard about, did anyone mention cholinesterase? Was there cholinesterase? Now, did I hear about lecitinases? Lecitinases A and B. Now, did you mention nucleases? No, I don't think it was. Did we mention phosphatases? No. So now, those are the key things that were missed out from the lecture. And so from the reading. So people read, they followed the videos, but some fine details were not picked up. And so it's the reason why you come in here, and I will direct you to more readings that you'll be able to answer these questions properly now in future. For the essay question then, how are you supposed to approach it? You have to distribute, you have to divide, do a proper introduction, and you decide to go with the endocrine and the exocrine function. While you go on the exocrine function, you need to mention the stimulants of the secretion of the enzymes. When the food comes in terms of bolus, what happens? There's stimulation of the pancreas to secrete alkaline. Firstly, there's bile that comes in, and so that when this enzyme comes in, they are able to be activated to be able to perform their function. And so that process of neutralization and taking out the pH should not be forgotten, and the stimulants of the secretion of that, as well as mentioning the rest of the enzymes. Very important that we mention the rest of the enzyme to make sure that the assay flows. And so you also have to remember that the enzymes are secreted as zymogens. And so you need to know whether it's chymotrypsin or trypsinogen converted to trypsin, or chymotrypsin converted to what. So it's very important. Those different steps are key to notice. And why I also mentioned that you guys need to look at all the enzymes, because feed comes in there without restricting. You have different kind of food that will come in there, the different nutrients, and so all those enzymes are supposed to be there. Sometimes it comes in with the DNA of the plant, and that DNA of the plant has to be denatured too. So that's why we have nucleases. So if we were looking about the function of the pancreas in the small intestine, you cannot miss out on those enzymes. Okay? So do we have questions? Are there any questions? And so, if there are no questions, I would like to proceed to show you a couple of things that we would need to continue doing to make sure that this topic is well understood. I will look for you the question that I showed you before. This is, imagine that this question was coming in the exam. What is going to guide you to respond to this question? Are you with me?
Yes.
Can everyone hear me? Yes. If you look at on the, do you see the rubric on the screen? Do you all see the rubric on the screen?
Yes.
Thank you very much. If you see the rubric, according to what is written there, there have to be an introduction, the body of the essay, and there's a conclusion. The introduction, if you were to score excellent, it would tell you that the marks is 10%. But at the very base, when it's weak, we have 4%. If you look at excellent, what do I want to see? Did you introduce the pancreas as an accessory organ? Did you talk about where it's located and the main function? After you've done that, then you have to now look at the proper function of the pancreas and what happens. How does that pancreas now respond when feed comes into the small intestines? What is what are the stimulants and so on and so forth? Now, if you look at that rubric, you see that as you're going down to lower marks, the amount of points, the details that you increase reduces, and when they reduces, your marks are also going to be reducing. If you look at the conclusion is 10%, it says that did you summarize the essay properly in your conclusion? That means you have to mention the gland, mention the two main functions, and then mention the key enzymes or the key regulators. And then you conclude of how important. And if you were to conclude like that, you're going to get 10%. But if you just mention, say you conclude by saying mentioning the pancreas and how it's an accessory organ, that is very weak and does not give us key information of what is reviewed in the essay. And so you have 4%. So you can see that the more value you add to your conclusion, the higher the marks are. So I would move away from that screen now. I would go back to class. We'll go back to Moodle. This is Moodle here. I've already showed you your marks. And now we have another key quiz here that I put, but I call this gamification. Why do I call this gamification? When you answer this quiz, you will not be able to see the answer until you get all the answers. So what happens in the previous quiz, you were able to see, but this one is fun because I will be offering bonus marks for those who are able to earn all the marks, as well as I'll give you, there'll be like kind of a trophy of best student. So I'm still going to decide on exact what trophy. The trophy is still a surprise for now. So first there's a bonus mark and that. And so until you manage to get the right answers, it's very different from the multiple choice that I gave you. But down here, I gave you the option of choosing. And you only have to mention keywords and what? The only thing is that the keyword and any other word that is not an enzyme or whatever you're supposed to mention is N. And that's the only way that you're going to get that answer. So it is designed in such a way that the task has levels until you get the right answer before it will give you 100%. So, and it will never show you the answer until you figure out as per the patient. So that is your next task, to show me that you've completed the whole task. And there's also an evaluation form, which you guys have to look at it and be able to tell me what is happening. And then above also you have the submission window of your assignment, which due on the 30th of July. So that assignment must be completed. You copy the window, and your assignment submitted. So with this being summarized, I am very happy that we up to task. I need to stop the sharing screen now. Are there questions that I can that we can get before I summarize the lecture for today? Are there any questions? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Are there any questions for today? If there are no questions, that's interesting. I would summarize by telling you that we've come to the end of the functions of the pancreas, which we mentioned that the key main function, there are two of them, endocrine and exocrine, and they are hormones responsible for the stimulation of each secretion, and the major enzymes that most of you would always remember is amylase, lipases, proteases, chymotrypsins, and so those are the key things to remember. And the endocrine function of the pancreas is mainly glucose homeostasis, and homeostasis, and then you remember glucagon and insulin, where glucagon is responsible for what? What is glucagon responsible for? Glucagon is responsible for doing what? I didn't hear that. Can someone come closer to the camera so that I can hear? Glucagon is responsible for
Conversion of glycogen into glucose.
and insulin.
It converts glucose into glycogen.
That's good. In a nutshell, we can say that one of them is anabolism, and the other one is responsible for what? Catabolism. And that comes to the end of the lecture. But now we will move forward in our next lecture to now see what happens. What are the functions of the accessory organs in a monogastric animal of our choice? And the monogastric animal of our choice is going to be a pig. So that is going to be our next topic that we'll be looking at. Are you with me?
Yes.
So we will be looking at the digestive system of a monogastric animal, which is the pig, and that's the next topic that we will be discussing on, which is very, very important. Okay. So can you guys see me on the screen?
Yes.
Right. And so I would go back, I would try to share a screen to tell you what is going on in the next class. We'll go back to Moodle. So this is your next assignment that you have to do. You have to go to quiz number 2. That is the gamification. I would expect that I will see the results before your next class. And the window closes tomorrow night, later tomorrow. So please make sure you answer that. And when we come to class, we will have to check who are the winners of that, and they will be rewarded for their different answers for their good work that they've done. Now, we will now move to the next lecture. The lectures slides, you will remember, for the next lessons, you can find them in week 4 as well to prepare for the monogastric animal. Without being said, I would like to thank you all of you very much for taking part in our first online medicine, first online lecture, and we would wish to and to continue to have many more of this, and I hope that it would improve with the lectures. So again, after the lecture, this video is available online. I'm going to be inviting all of you after this. The link will be sent to the class rep, and you will be able to watch this link again and go through these lessons over and over and over on your own to remind yourself what we've been doing. So you have the chance to listen to this again and again and again. So with that being said, thank you very much, and I would like to thank also the tutors and this one and Tangumalo for assisting us to make sure that this lesson happened today. Let's give them a hand of applause. Thank you very much, and until our next lecture again. Bye.
Bye.